Real Vision TV here. We back. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And that's right. We back. So you guys probably been entertained by my AI assistant videos lately, but now getting back into the swing of things to chime in and get some videos done for you guys. Right? Get some videos done for you guys. Shouts to the loyal people who's been loyal to our page, remain subscribers, even through the period where we was not uploading any videos. You know, YouTube hit us with our monetization, but it was all good. We're going to work on getting that back, and we're going to get this content pushed out. Right? We're going to get this content pushed out. Now, without further ado, I got something to talk about. Absolutely have something to talk about. And it involves the hypocrisy with some of these elected officials, right? The hypocrisy with these elected officials. Now, I had a buddy of mine, right? And before I get in, smash that like button. Smash the like button, people. I had a buddy of mine. Well, I really wouldn't call him a buddy. I'll just call him an acquaintance, right? He was going back and forth, and he was like beating me in the head about the whole Trump tax cuts and you know, cutting back government spending. And my first response to him was, have you been impacted directly? Because from what I heard, this was strictly mainly government associated jobs in certain sectors within the government branch, like Department of Education, Social Security, so on and so forth, IRS, so on and so forth. Say, no, man, I wasn't impacted. I said, okay. I said, do you have any family, any close relatives that was impacted? He said, nah. I said, okay. So I was like, so you're good right now? I was like, okay. I was like, hey, man, do you remember 9/11 when the private sector, everybody used 9/11 as a moment to issue mass layoffs? Guy was like, yeah, I remember that. I said, were any government workers contacting you, or you know, did you see anything on the news about how the concern was for you guys backed by government workers? He's like, nah, I don't remember that. I was like, yeah, see, you know, I was like, everybody has their struggles in life, right? One thing we can't control is what happens in our own home, right? We can't get too caught up, right, worrying about what's going on in everybody else's home, especially when you can't even take care of your own, right? And one of the key things with the egregious spending with our tax dollars is that we as American citizens deserve to know where this money's going and how it's being spent, especially when we're out here busting our tail to make ends meet, to only have taxes taken out to find out that the wrong things are being done with our taxes. The taxes are being misappropriated, right? Now, anybody who argues that, I'm not going to call them any names, but hey, I'll just leave it at that, right? There shouldn't really be an argument there, right? But one thing I do know is this, is that there's a sector within our country, right, within the United States, of people. There's a big sector of people that, you know, like you have a television and you got that remote to that television. And, you know, the remote controls the station that you're watching. Well, this sector of people, they're stuck on a specific station and the remote's gone. The remote's broken. Whatever happened to the remote, we can't find the remote anymore. So they're stuck on this station and it can't be turned, right? And the information they're feeding in through this station is not information that's beneficial to the receiver. It's actually detrimental, right? Because when you can't turn the station, then that means you're just locked in to one message, right? And that message can be pushed as, hey, whatever this person says, we don't buy it, we don't believe it, it's trouble for us, and we should get rid of them. And everybody in that station, stuck on that station, will believe that. 100%. And this is why personally I don't get involved when I identify that there's somebody that's locked in on that station. I don't get involved with going back and forth with them. I try to hit them with the receipts, as we call it, right? I try to hit them with the facts or the receipts, right? Now, when it comes to this whole government cuts, I'm going to get into the Trump side of things. I'm going to get into how Trump, when he spoke about it, and we're going to go into good old Barry Soetoro, Barack Hussein Obama, right? And there's a reason why we're going to get into Barack Obama, because we see a very huge similarity in the messages, but there's one big difference. And we're going to identify that difference shortly. So let's get right into Mr. Donald Trump.
It will be truly spectacular. It's all set to go. The permitting is gotten. And later this week, I will also take historic action to dramatically expand production of critical minerals and rare earths here in the USA. To further combat inflation, we will not only be reducing the cost of energy, but will be ending the flagrant waste of taxpayer dollars. And to that end, I have created the brand new Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps. Which is headed by Elon Musk, who is in the gallery tonight.
Right. So there was a little pause there. I'm going to get back to what I was saying. Some people said that they couldn't hear the mic. That's fine. I'll repeat that, and I'll sum it up in short. Elon Musk was vilified. He was beloved by the Liberal Party for pushing the envelope with energy efficiency and just the idea of energy alone and just electric, pushing to the, at the forefront with electric, right? And for some reason, the moment that he decided to team up with somebody who was trying to make sense out of the horrible managing of our government, they turned on him, right? His company came crashing down on the market. They vilified him. And, maybe he shouldn't have did that stupid Nazi salute, that what people called it. Some people thought it was a genuine, touch on the chest and just giving love out to the crowd. And other people took it as a Nazi salute. If you own a Tesla car, if you feel like he's a Nazi, then get rid of your car. That's what I say to that, right? Because at the end of the day, most of us are not affected by Elon Musk. We may use his products and services, but as long as he's helping to reach a goal for people as a whole, that's all we should be caring about. We shouldn't be caring about all that extra stuff. The stuff that the people that stuck on that specific channel, that station that they can't get off of, want you to focus on. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to stay the course and we're going to get the job done. And that's what we have to respect when people are willing to jeopardize their livelihood, their careers, their companies, their brands. When you see people willing to jeopardize that, then there's purpose behind it. When you see people jeopardizing everything that they've built, there's purpose behind it.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. He didn't need this. He didn't need this. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Everybody here, even this side, appreciates it, I believe. They just don't want to admit that. Just listen to some of the appalling waste we have already identified. $22 billion from HHS to provide free housing and cars for illegal aliens.
I'll stop right there because most people have already seen this who got a brain. They've seen this already. The point is cutting back on government spending, on ridiculous line items that either should not be funded, if there's any fraudulent activity. It's important that we identify these things. We just can't keep on going on as a country and not identifying where money is being just hemorrhaging out through our system. That's our money as taxpayers, right? That's our money as taxpayers. And get this video smashed up. Smash the like button if you feel that this is our money. I don't know anybody who got a brain or a portion of a brain will argue that. But for some reason, the people that stuck on that channel or that station will. Now, one thing I told that acquaintance of mine, I said, you know what? That whole entire government waste and cut sounded very too familiar. And when I thought about it, I said, I heard this before. And I kept pondering on it. And I said, oh, yes, I remember where I heard it. And it was from no other than Barack Obama. In his first term, him and good old Joe Biden thought that they were going to do the same thing. And I think that there's a vast difference between talking about something and being about something. But again, the message was very clear. Nobody had an issue with Barack Obama talking about government cuts and unnecessary spending within government using our taxpayer dollars. But I think I know why nobody went ballistic about it, because I think that all they did was talk about it. See, when you implement something, it's going to show itself, whether there's going to be some kickback from it or whether there's progression from it. You're going to know because it's been implemented. The problem is, I believe all of that talking Barack Obama and his pal been doing during that time in that first presidency run was just talk. And if they try to implement it, if they try to implement cut back on government spending, they sure didn't do a good job, and it sure wasn't loud enough. So either they're incompetent or they're just talking shit. Right? Either they're incompetent or they're just talking shit. But if you don't believe me, hey, listen, I'll play it for you right now. I will play it for you right now, where Mr. Good old Barack Obama himself talked about government spending. And I'll even throw this out there. Either Barack Obama's a Republican on the down low, or he's just a secret agent out there to mislead people. Either way, there's something off with him and his message and what he was able to deliver to the American people. But like I said, this message that he gives in this video is very similar to the message Donald Trump gave. And we need to cut back on wasteful and fraud spending. So here we go.
Hi, everyone. This stack of books right here is called the Federal Register. For decades, copies have been printed, bound, and sent to thousands of government offices all across the country, every single day. And while you might think that most people just can't wait to dig into their copy as soon as it arrives, the truth is, no one reads this thing. And that's because it's been available on the internet for years, which means taxpayers have been funding some pretty expensive doorstops. So we're putting an end to that, saving you millions of dollars each year. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Everyone knows that getting rid of the deficit will require some tough decisions. And that includes cutting back on billions of dollars in programs that a lot of people care about. But what should be easy is getting rid of the pointless waste and stupid spending that doesn't benefit anybody. Waste we should be getting rid of even if we didn't have a deficit. We're off to a good start. Over the last 2 years, we've pulled the plug on all kinds of ridiculous practices. Apparently, the government used to overnight containers filled with nothing. Don't ask why that is. Sure, some of these cuts aren't that big, But no amount of waste is acceptable. Not when it's your money. Not at a time when so many Americans are already cutting back. Just as families are living within their means, government should too. So we can invest in the things that we know will create good jobs and grow the economy. Things like education and technology. Besides, after a while, all these cuts add up. Already we've identified about $33 billion in savings just for this year. And we're not finished, not by a long shot. Did you know the federal government pays for a website devoted to a folk music ensemble made up of forest rangers? They're called the Fiddlin' Foresters. I'll put their music on my iPod, but I'm not paying for their website. And there are hundreds of similar sites that we should consolidate or just get rid of.
Now, I'm going to pause right there. Do anybody remember this video with Barack Obama? Does anybody remember this video? Be honest, drop it in the comment section. Tell us your thoughts. Because doesn't it sound very familiar to what Donald Trump's agenda was? I think the problem is that, again, that same sector or station of people, they hear little buzzwords like DEI and stuff like that. And then they start getting all emotional. Meanwhile, they've since that point, they're still living their lives. Nothing has changed. They haven't been impacted, but they're out here for to make a long story short, they're bitching and moaning. They're bitching and moaning. When again, I did say earlier, all you should be focused on is what happens inside your house. You can make your voice happen at the polls, but whatever happens in your house is what you can control. You're not going to be able to control everything, but what you can do is be able to rationalize, make sense out of something, and make sure you're not being led astray. And it's funny because when I bring this up to people about this video, they're so stuck on that station of delusion that they're still being denial, even though I showed them the video. And I guarantee you, you're going to see that because it'll reflect in the comment section for those who feel a certain way about the video.
By the way, you're not only paying for websites no one needs, you're paying for thousands of buildings all across the country no one uses. For the last decade, the government's owned a massive and completely empty warehouse in the middle of Brooklyn, for example. Now, the government hadn't been able to sell this building and others like it because of red tape and Washington politics that held things up for years. But we're finally cutting through all that and plan to get rid of these buildings in the months ahead. All of these efforts to target waste and make government more efficient have been a priority for my administration since day one. But as we work to tackle the budget deficit, we need to step up our game. We need to go after every dime. We need to make government work for you. That's why, starting today, I've asked the Vice President to lead a renewed effort to hunt down misspent tax dollars in every agency and department of this government.
So you hear that? He's appointing his VP to do it. You see, Trump is smart. He's not going to have Vance do it, J.D. Vance do it. He'll tie him up with other stuff, right? He'll bring a separate entity in that has a strong background on technology that'll make things happen in a lightning speed of time and get results. But this guy here you see on the screen, he hands it over to good old Joe Biden, and we all know what happens from there.
We're calling it the Campaign to Cut Waste, and I know Joe's the right man to lead it, because nobody messes with Joe.
There's a new standard by which the government is going to function from this point on. The American people are entitled to transparency. By that I mean they're entitled to be able to figure out where their dollars are going, and they're entitled to accountability to make sure that we're using the dollars for what we said it was for. That's our job, and we take that job very seriously. Look, a lot of this depends on new, sophisticated methods, but it also, we know, depends on relentless focus on making this a priority. Focus that can't be delegated. We're holding ourselves accountable, and we're deeply committed and focused on making government function better. We're not just eliminating fraud and waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue.
Did you hear that, people? I'll bring it back for you again, you individuals who stuck on the same station. Joe Biden just said that he expects future administrations to also adhere to. Why is it a problem now that the Trump administration is taking on the same task? I'll bring it back for you guys.
And waste. We hope to be instilling an entire new culture that not only our administration, but every succeeding administration will in fact pursue. We're going to.
Now, is that cap? Are we lying about? Oh, listen, we got the receipts on the screen. We have the receipts on the screen. You heard Joe Biden say it himself. So we should not be up in arms about cutting back on government spending, fraud, and waste.
Give you the government you expect and deserve. So I want to thank you all, and we're ready to get to work.
Now, that's baffling to me, and it should be baffling to you guys as well. It should be. Because here we just heard Barack Obama, along with his sidekick, I'm going to call them Batman and Robin, right? Him and his sidekick, tell you that we should be cutting back on fraud and waste within our government. And all Mr. Donald Trump is doing is the work that these bozos did not complete, or maybe didn't even start, because we didn't even really even hear about the impact. We didn't even hear about the impact. So we don't know whether, again, whether they accomplished anything or whether they didn't. But one thing I know is that when you accomplish things in life, there's a splash to it, right? There's a splash that everybody hears, right? It's like when you jump off it right into the ocean, you get that belly flop splash. Yeah, that's when somebody's doing something. When there's no splash, it means there's no noise. That means there's no action. That means nobody's doing anything. And I think that's the reason why, again, that section or station of America who can't get off the station, I think that's probably why they're so confused or just tone deaf to Donald Trump's message. But hey, listen, we get it. We completely understand. You know, some people, they have too much pride to admit that they were wrong about something or they were wrong in their judgment. Because again, like I said, if you're only getting your information from the same station that you're stuck on, what do you expect? So again, if you guys like the video, give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, share the content, because it definitely needs to be shared. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that did not see that video that I just showed you guys here today with Barack Obama. Now, till next time, we are out.